Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of True Crime with Lux. Today I'm going to be talking about the death of Sara Porter. Now, Sara met her husband Harold Butch Knight in Fenville, Michigan in 1995. She was working as a respiratory nurse therapist who was actually caring for Harold's mother at the time. They had an 18-year age gap, Harold being older than her, and people said that they were actually complete opposites. Sara was known as being really good with people and was just described as a hard worker, and everybody loved her. People couldn't really understand why she was with Harold or what she saw in him. Even aside from the age gap, he really lacked ambition and drive in his life, and they thought that she could do a lot better than him. But regardless of what other people said, Sara and Harold married in 2001. The marriage started off good. Friends remembered them going on picnic dates, kayaking, which was a really big hobby for them, and they would visit different lighthouses between Michigan and Maine. Now, Sara had kids before she and Harold got together, and her daughter Roxanne said that her mom really loved Harold, but he also had another side to him that she didn't see. As a teenager, Roxanne said that he wasn't a nice man, and he wasn't supportive at all of anything she did. He was very condescending and would pick fights with her and her sister when their mom wasn't around. It was like he was a completely different person when her mom wasn't there. People who didn't understand why the couple had gotten married started noticing changes in their relationship as the time passed. Harold rarely worked, and he couldn't keep a job long enough because he would just stop showing up to work. He was very controlling and possessive over Sara as well. He told her who she was allowed to talk to and how much money she was allowed to spend, even though she was the breadwinner. She was the one making all of the money. And she just basically wasn't allowed to make any decisions on her own. Even though people noticed all of this, no one stepped in. No one talked to Sara about this because when she would talk about Harold, she would just say how happy she was and how in love she was. Now, in 2007, the marriage wasn't in a good place. Sara still wanted to make things work, but it was really hard. But she loved him and she wanted to put the effort in. She thought that maybe if they got a new surrounding, if they moved to Maine, they could work on their marriage and things would be better. And Harold agreed, so they moved. Sara got a nursing job right away, and Harold even got a job driving a box truck for the hospital that she worked at. And for 7 years, everything was going great. The marriage was better, they were working, they didn't have any issues. Then out of the blue, Sara called her daughter, and said that she was leaving Harold and she was coming back to Michigan. Sara moved in with her daughter, but she never explained why she left Harold. But Roxanne knew that it had to be something bad for her to finally just leave him, but she didn't want to push her mom for details. One day, while Roxanne was cleaning the house, she did find some letters that Harold had written to Sara. In it mentioned that he was working on the list that she had given him, which made her realize that her mom didn't leave him permanently. She just wanted him to change things so that they could be together again. Pretty soon, Harold moved back to Michigan so he and Sara could be together because he had worked on all of the things she had asked him to. They bought a new house and they just settled back in together. And in reality, nothing really changed. Being back in Michigan, Sara again was the only one working, and her job required her to start traveling to other states. And again, Harold just sat at home, didn't work, didn't even look for a job. He just lived off of her money. On January 11th of 2015, 911 received a call. The caller said, "I strangled her and she's lying on the living room floor." The operator asked who she was speaking to, and the caller said that wasn't important. "I'm getting ready to leave the country, but you do need to send law enforcement so they can do whatever they do with dead bodies." Police arrived at the house and they did find Sara on the living room floor. However, she had been dead for 2 days before that call. They were able to trace the call and realized it came from a burner phone in Ann Arbor, Michigan. During the investigation, police found out that all of the money in Sara and Harold's account had been withdrawn, and the account was closed the day after that call was made. They also discovered that Harold bought a handgun, along with a lot of ammunition. And if you haven't guessed by now, Harold had strangled Sara to death. Now, there were sightings of him around Maine, but they still hadn't caught him. 2 weeks after Sarah's murder, her mother received a package from Harold. She immediately gave it to the police because she didn't know what was in it, and she didn't want to know what he was sending her. Inside the package, there were letters that taunted the family, saying things like, "I can get away with murder because I watch crime shows." He even tried to claim that he was selling drugs and that Sarah was in the way, so he got rid of her. Now, police never found any kind of proof that Harold was involved with drugs. The last thing in that package was $2,000 and a note that said that it was to cover the cost of Sarah's cremation because that's what she wanted. January 31st of 2015, police discovered Harold's car abandoned in a Walmart parking lot. Their surveillance video showed that he had altered his appearance. Where he usually had white hair, he had dyed it all black. And in February, they received a call from a hotel owner who said that he believed that the man they were looking for had actually stayed at his hotel a month prior. And he said, "I believe he also dyed his hair here because there were stains around the room from hair dye, like the sink and the bedding, and that he was there for 4 days." The owner said anytime he talked to him about what brought him to the area, Harold would tell him things like he was snowmobiling, but he had no snowmobile. He didn't have anything that would show that he was going to either ski or explore in the snow. He didn't really leave the hotel. Now, the theory is that Harold got a ride across the Canadian border. Unfortunately, he's still never been caught. Roxanne said that she really hopes that one day he gets arrested and he stands trial, and she hopes to see it. She hopes to be there to see him have to admit to what he did, to pay for what he did. Thank you all for joining me today. This ended up being a lot shorter of a case than I had intended. I am still going to put it out, and I apologize. But I appreciate you for listening, and I hope everyone has a great day and you stay safe out there, and I will be talking to you next week.